Okay, so for starters, playing with my MS Optics 28mm on the R5 today. I thought, why not? Let's mix things up a little bit. Not a really exciting video, I guess, more like an update. I'm here in my little photo studio space in our offices. Here, this part over here is the wallpaper that was in here when we rented this. Down there you see sheet metal. I don't know what I got myself into, but I still think it is a fantastic idea. And I'm halfway done, basically. Lower half is installed. Upper half will come tomorrow. I hope, at least. And the idea with the sheet metal is, first of all, to have something a bit more funky that you can play with reflective and all that stuff for like portrait sessions and so on, because I will and need to work on that, and as a whole plan to like rebuild parts of the business. And the other thing, the more important part of how I actually got to this idea was to hang my backdrops. Paper backdrops, whatever backdrops we have, like the canvas hand-painted ones and whatever. You can really actually hang whatever you want there, which is kind of cool. You can hang rugs, whatever. And that's going to be a really fun thing to do as soon as we're finished. I normally wanted to go and put a little wooden frame underneath it, and then thought, maybe because it's not that thick, it's like 1mm sheet metal. And I thought it would stay maybe smoother and it would be easier to install without the frame. But, well, this is an old building, and the walls, well, you can drill into them, but the size of the hole really is a mystery every time. It's more of a surprise than a mystery, but yeah, anyway, we're at it. And if I see that, because the gaps between the sheets vary a little bit, and if I see in the end it doesn't look good, I'll take them off again, put a frame underneath it, and then put the sheet metal on that again. Just that as a little update. Also, if you haven't checked out my blog at tamethebeast.com/blog, head on over there, maybe check a few things out. Same goes for my IG, just at Teymur, Teymur. Go say hi, and if you're really into it and if you really want to support me, obviously there's also my Patreon account that you will find linked on all those places. The thing I want to talk about today is, I had a little bit of an epiphany. It's so funny because I think I talked about this before in one of the videos, that ever since Corona, business has been, at least for me, has been kind of bad-ish. But it has been for a lot of people. And it's so funny because I just saw also a Instagram post by a photo editor on Instagram who surveyed a lot of photographers and gets lots of comments and stuff, and has a good overview about that. And really seems to be half-half, like people whose business gotten much better in the years after Corona, and those whose business just completely tanked. And I do keep seeing that in my own circles, right? The photographers I know, the filmmakers I know, and it's exactly the same thing. And it's so weird, and it's so like, half of them are doing better than ever before, and the other people I talk to, well, not really great, which is a shame. But my point is, I think it's certainly a factor in my case, but I had this I call it epiphany, but there are lots of factors that got me to where I am right now, into the kind of weird situation I am in. And that's fine. We'll get out of this. We'll work our way out of this somehow. But I think a big part is, very bluntly said, I lost my creativity, I feel like. I'm not talking in general terms, very specifically when it comes to photography, how I photograph, what kinds of things I do and how I use different things, or just in general being more daring maybe, or something like that. I think that's what got me started in the first place, right? With like big companies and car manufacturers and this and that. Like 18 years ago, it was a different me in many ways, but I think that's what got me in. And then over the years, I heard so often to dial it down, dial it back, be more conform with like what everyone else is doing and stuff like that. And listen, people say that and they have their reasons for that. I'm not faulting anyone else. I'm just faulting myself that I think to have realized that I actually listened. I listened and it went way too far, because obviously you have to make compromises, especially with clients. And the problem though is that if you lose what actually made you interesting in the first place, it's not there anymore. And that's a big, big problem. At least for me now, sitting here in 2024 and thinking about what went wrong, where should I have been more proactive maybe, right? And that certainly is one part that actually caught me a bit off guard when I was thinking about it a couple of days ago, or where it kind of like the light bulb went off. It's like, And I mean, in the back of my head, I kind of knew that anyway, I think. And the sad thing is that it wasn't only in like car photography and so on, but it really crept all over my photographic world, for the lack of a better term. And I think it's going to be an interesting and very hard journey, I guess, to get out of that again. But it's funny, with some of my model shoots in the past couple months, or this year rather, even, I see my old self, or like some of my old ways coming through again a little bit. And that's very reassuring and good that that guy's still in there. To some extent anyway, right? We evolve, obviously. You might catch yourself with people saying like, ooh, dial yourself back a little bit. And you get to the point where you like kind of maybe get a little bit nervous, like, if I keep it up just going with my idea, with my way, with my style, with my flow, I might lose clients, I might lose this job, I might lose... That's so funny and also kind of sad if you don't stick with it. But my gut has been right at least 90% of the time, every time. And obviously you most of the time see that when you don't listen to your gut. I've talked about that already before in multiple videos, I think, over the years. But the point being that this realization that it actually really might be one of the biggest factors is kind of shocking, to be honest. And I'm still kind of processing it, right? But I think that's where this reset, and it took me a long, long time to even to get to this point, and we still have ways to go. But with the rebuilding of the studio, or like building a proper like portrait studio for the second time, but the last time has been like ages ago, and as soon as I had my studio going, I was just traveling all the time and shooting everywhere else but home, so that doesn't really count, to be honest. Anyway, I think it's like, you know, especially with like creative stuff, obviously you have to learn. And learning by doing is great. Learn by looking at others. Like Steal Like an Artist is like, you know, it is a famous quote for a reason. And it's so nice. I mean, even like just like looking at photo books and stuff, right? It's get inspiration through movies, music, all that. That's all cool. But when it's like, you should never lose yourself, because then it's just this product, right? And even if you do work in a very commercial field, I think we still stick out more and create better work if we just let go instead of like, and I mean by like our creativity, right? Just let it flow out, not let go. Maybe the wrong way of putting it. If we conform to everything that, for example, clients always want or always demand, or they don't know better, they just hang out on Instagram as well and just like look at what everyone else is doing. Then you end up like, what's that, like 7 years ago or something, 6 years ago, where all the big Instagram accounts from photographers, and no shade, but like Peter McKinnon is the best example there, I think, or like one of the super good examples, where all the feeds looked the same. And not only like did his, or like thousands of people, so like photographers, streams look like his look all the same. Like, I think he even talked about that. So it's not, I'm not throwing any shade here, but that was a shit area for photography, era, sorry, not era. It was a really, really bad era for photography. And it still kind of lingers. And sure, there's always going to be trends, and you might have to adhere to some of them when you're like in contact with clients, or if you want to like make waves somehow, right? I just ordered myself a Amaran 300C and the Spotlight adapter, so yeah. But it's good, like try those things. Be able, especially as a professional, be able to reproduce stuff like that, but also play around with it and don't let them just do this one thing with it, right? I don't know if that makes any sense. And I don't want to ramble. This is not supposed to be like a very long video or anything. So I hope you had a great weekend, and wishing you a wonderful start into the next. I'll keep you updated on this. Also thinking about, back in the day, talking about IG. I swear, after this, we're done. But I used to post my travel photos, my car photos, and my model photos. Those three things that always interested me the most in photography. Car photography, I'm kind of done with. I don't care about cars that much anymore, and it's all a little bit. At the moment, my Instagram feed is mostly portraits and mostly model shoots. And I want to mix things up again a little bit. I just don't know how to get I don't care about really like, I mean, the algorithm is going to do whatever they want to anyway. They're just going to play some silly games, and now you're supposed to put in like 20 pictures in a carousel. 20 pictures? What the fuck's wrong with you people? For a few months now, I've been posting Thursdays or Fridays on Instagram, doing one of the model photos with the blog post and the Patreon post and all that. Maybe Mondays or Tuesdays is a good day to put some travel stuff in there a little bit. I just opened up one of my old Lightroom libraries from like, I don't know, 15 years ago or something. Found some pictures from like New York and LA and stuff like that, so I might start there. Either go back in time or like start back in the day and catch up. We'll see. Rambling. I could talk for hours. Anyway, have a good one. Talk to you in the next one. Bye!
音楽大好き。これは RBNA ラジオ。